Howdy and welcome to another chatty sketch with me. My name is Karen, and if this is your first rodeo, well, I think I have like one or two more of these videos, so if you want to check it out, you should check it out. Anyway, I usually don't do these often because I can't consume media within the span of like every week or 2 weeks, so I can't give as many recommendations as I can today because it's been like, what, 2-3 months since I've done the last one. So yeah, this is the type of video where I draw and you watch me draw, or not, but you just hear me talk about my movie, TV shows, music, and in rare occasions, book recommendations. So let us get started. First thing I always I can't speak. I haven't done a voiceover in a long time. First section I'd like to talk about are movies. Now the first one, I think I watched this back in November? Yeah, I'm gonna say no, October. It was definitely October. No, it was November. Anyways, the movie The Bad Guys, it is, I believe, a DreamWorks movie, and if you don't know me, I'm a big fan of DreamWorks, particularly because they created the amazing, fantastic #1 movie Shrek and Shrek 2. Shrek 2 is my favorite, by the way. And a bunch of other movies like, oh wait, no, was it Illumination? I don't know. Either way, they're both great animation studios. But this one, the moment the trailer came out, I wanted to watch this shit so badly. But I'm not someone who likes to go to movies anymore after COVID, and also it's so fucking expensive, like AMC, what the fuck. But it was on Netflix. I think it is still on Netflix in the US at least, and I watched that shit. It was really cute. I had it as a background movie when I was packing orders or making shipping labels for my orders, and it was a 10 out of 10 maybe. I would like to watch it again with like my family. And yeah, it's about a group of con artists that are like all animals. Like, think of like the whole but it's furry. No, it's not furry, but it's like Zootopia, so everyone are animals. I think, oh wait, no, but there's also humans. So yeah, but it's basically about a con artist that are like a group of animals who are the bad guys, and then they try to become the good guys because of certain events, so that they don't. I'm not even gonna like talk about it that much, but it was really cute. Definitely recommend watching it with your friends or family, or by yourself, but highly recommend watching it with friends or family. It's kind of sad when you watch it alone, in my opinion at least. I wished I would have watched it with someone. Second movie is a Korean movie that is also on Netflix, and holy shit, the roller coaster it brought me on, I wasn't expecting much. I was thinking like a light-hearted Korean romantic movie, right? Psych. It was really fucking cute, I will tell you that much. But the story, whoever wrote this, my god, was it fucking amazing. It's basically like, not coming of age. Is it coming of age? I don't know. It's a friend who's trying to look out for another friend, trying to get their friend, there's some guy to like her friend, if that makes sense. Like I said, this shit was a fucking roller coaster. My mom watched it before me and she was like, oh my god, and I was like, what is so great? I think my brother also cried, maybe not, but like he was like, god damn, that shit was wild. But then I watched it on my own and I was like, I'm crying, what the fuck. So definitely recommend that if you like Korean drama, romantic stuff. Yeah. Next one is The Big Sick. It has oh my god, I forgot his name, but he was in The Eternals and he was in another great show that I really liked, Silicon Valley. So it's basically about a Pakistani comic who meets an American graduate student named Emily at one of his stand-up shows. As the relationship blossoms, he soon becomes worried about his traditional Muslim parents or about what his traditional Muslim parents will think of her. When Emily suddenly comes down with an illness that leaves her in a coma, Kumal finds himself developing a bond with her deeply concerned mother and father. My friend recommended this movie to me while I was still in college, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'll put it in my bucket list. And I completely forgot about it until I was like looking through movies and on Amazon Prime, which is where it is, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. And so I watched it. Usually I watch movies or anything while I'm working on stuff, but I didn't want to work on anything that night, so I just gave it my full attention, and it was such a good film. Like, very underrated, because if my friend had never told me about it, I probably would have never seen it because I never heard of it. But 10 out of 10 would recommend, and it's kind of funny. And it is also based off of the main actor and his wife's life, so even more of a reason to watch it. The next one is one that I came across again because it's on HBO Max, just lit, is Donnie Darko. It has Jake Gyllenhaal, not my favorite actor in the world. I remember he got like hated on by like all like the Swiftie fans. I don't know anything about that. Okay, so this movie was done in 2001. Also, if you're a Corpse fan, you should know of this movie. If you haven't seen it, you should watch it if you're a Corpse fan. I watched it solely because of him, like 1 or 2 years ago, and I was like, oh my god, this movie is actually fucking fantastic. I can see why this is Corpse's favorite movie. So during the presidential election of 1988, a teenager named Donnie Darko sleepwalks out of his room one night and sees a giant demonic-looking rabbit named Frank, who tells him the world will end in 28 days. When Donnie returns home, he finds that a jet engine has crashed into his bedroom. Is Donnie living in a parallel universe? Is he suffering from mental illness? Or will the world really end? This shit is wild. It got 87% Rotten Tomatoes, and it's a 10 out of 10 movie. Yeah, that's all I'll say about it. It's kind of like, it's trippy. You really want to pay attention at all times because there's certain parts where you'd be like, oh, I wonder if that has a meaning to something later on in the movie. And yeah, that's just how it goes, and it's a 10 out of 10 movie. Recommend it. So I actually don't have a lot of movies. I just been watching a lot of like old movies. Lizzie McGuire the movie, fucking love that shit. Elf, because it's Christmas season, amazing. And yeah, that's all I got. So next, we're gonna talk about TV shows that I've watched recently and highly recommend to you. First one is Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Now, I didn't finish this anime, but it is under the animation studio. It's under the animation studio Trigger, who has done Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, Kiss Never. What is that? The one movie, Promare. A lot of great animes. It's very, and it was kind of like a spin-off off of the game Cyberpunk. I don't know anything about that because I don't game. But this one's on Netflix, and oh my god, it has 100% Rotten Tomatoes. Wow, I still have to finish it. So yeah. But it's about a street kid tries to survive in a technology and body modification obsessed city of the future, with everything to lose. He chooses to stay alive by becoming an edge runner, a mercenary outlaw, also known as a cyberpunk. 10 out of 10. I watched it dubbed. Don't care what anyone thinks about dub. I like watching dub so I can work on stuff on the side, and I honestly don't mind it. Is sub primarily better? Most likely, but you know, a girl gotta hustle at all times. But highly recommended if you're into kind of like a sci-fi cyberpunk world. And yeah, great animation, 10 out of 10. I love Trigger. Next show is Dahmer. This is also another show I haven't finished because I usually, weirdly enough, I shouldn't though, because it's like about like the serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, but I watch this show usually when I'm on the train because I have an hour commute to Manhattan, so I get to like watch an episode. Usually when I watch an episode, I watch it with my roommate, and I don't want to watch it without them. So I haven't finished. I think I'm like 3 or 4 episodes in, but it is basically about Jeffrey Dahmer, who is a serial killer, I think in the 90s, and the main actor who plays him is Evan Peters. And if you don't know Evan Peters, he was the speedy guy in the Marvel movie. Oh my god. Quicksilver? He was I think his name is Quicksilver. He was Quicksilver in X-Men, that movie. And then he was also in American Horror Story for like many seasons. But I've always loved him. He is dreamy in my eyes, and he is a phenomenal actor, and I think he did such a wonderful job portraying him. It was very like creepy though, I will say, because he's playing a psychopathic killer. But if I were to compare his performance to, who's the other? Oh my god, what is it? He's also he was in Austin and Ally. Oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? I love this man. If I were to compare his performance to Ross Lynch's performance of Jeffrey Dahmer when he did that movie, I don't know. They both did an amazing job. And at least with Ross Lynch, his was portrayed when Jeffrey Dahmer was in high school, and we get to see that little portion of his life, as opposed to the series where they keep going like back to the present and then to his like past. So like you get to see like, oh, like what could have made him this way. But yeah, that's on Netflix. Next one is Chainsaw Man. Now, I've only seen 1 episode of this, but from the 1 episode, first of all, the animation studio that works on the show has done Jujutsu Kaisen and I think Attack on Titan and many other animes from what I believe. But it's phenomenal. And even the opening was like, it was funny to me because they used a lot of movie references, or like, yeah, I think film references, and I thought that was pretty neat. And the manga was already popular itself, so I can only imagine how great the anime is under this animation studio. I think it's MAP Studios, I don't know. But that Chainsaw Man, I think, is the hype of the what is it, the winter season? Or is it still the fall season? I think it's the fall season. That, and I heard Bleach is back. I don't watch Bleach, but I think those two are like the prominent animes right now. Next one is something I never would have imagined I would like, but my roommate got me into it, and I've been watching it with them, and it's the House of Dragons. I can't recall if I mentioned this last time. Like I said, I don't remember, but I recently finished it, and so I think it's a prequel to Game of Thrones, therefore it's on HBO Max. It was really good. Like, I'm not really into like medieval things. I didn't give it my fullest attention most of the time because girl bossing, but I tend to like lose focus a lot when it comes to like medieval genres, even with like K-dramas, like the historical dramas. Hated them. Even the one with Tae from BTS, I couldn't. I was so bored. I'm sure the story was good, but I couldn't like do it. But the House of Dragons was really good, and I'm kind of tempted to like watch Game of Thrones now just because of the House of Dragons. I think there's gonna be a 2nd season, but I'm not totally sure. Next one is one that I started back in October when I got awfully sick, like horrendously sick. I didn't have a fever. I just had like a really bad cold that was kind of targeted in my throat. Anyways, this is TMI, but I was dying in my bed for like 2 days, and then I was just like, no, it might have been like 3 or 4 days. But during that time, I was watching Daredevil, and the reason why I started watching Daredevil was because I mistakenly watched most of She-Hulk. And first of all, that show, what the fuck was up with that ending? I was so disappointed. I feel like they could have done better, at least through my perspective. Like, I felt like they just gave up, and I feel like the plot was also lacking. I feel like they could have done better for the show, for She-Hulk, but Daredevil made an appearance in She-Hulk, and I was like, hey yo, I kind of like his characters. And then I asked my friend who is really into like superhero comic stuff, and I was like, hey, have you seen like Daredevil? Is it like good? And he's like, oh no, yeah, it's really fucking good. So I gave it a couple episodes in, and it's actually really fucking good. Yeah, I watch most of like Marvel movies, but I don't really watch Marvel shows. But 10 out of 10 would recommend. And then the last show is something I'm currently watching, trying to finish. It is Wednesday. No, Karen, it's actually Thursday as I'm recording this. No, it's called Wednesday. It is based off of, like the Addams Family Wednesday. It's on Netflix, and it's just based on the daughter Wednesday, and she goes off to this like private school, and things happen, and her what is her name? I forgot the girl's name, the actress's name who plays Wednesday, but she does such a phenomenal job playing Wednesday. And Jenny Ortega, I think, is her name. Amazing. Like, I grew up watching the Addams Family because my mom like really liked it, and I tried to make her watch this one, and she was like, it's too like gory, it's too like gross, and I'm like, boo. But I could like see her take on it, but she has like a soft stomach, so she can't handle those things very well, but I can, and I am enjoying it, and I have to finish the rest of it either today or tomorrow because it's that good. Anyways, that is all the shows that I have, and now we're gonna move on to the music section, which, if you don't know, I am an avid music listener because I like to escape from the world by listening to music majority of the fucking time. First music taste, whatever, is Case 143 by Stray Kids. The little EP that they brought out or whatever was okay. Case 143 though, a bop. An absolute pop. And yeah, that's all I'll say. It's kind of like, I don't know, it just gets my like adrenaline pumping, and I'm like, let's fucking work, bro. Let's fucking work out. Like but yeah, not really much into K-pop these days, but Stray Kids has like a special place in my heart when they release new things. Them and sometimes TXT, depends on my mood, but yeah. Next one is Girlfriend by The Driver Era. I think this is kind of an old album, not too old but not new, and I did not know that Ross Lynch was in this group because I think it's just him and his brother, and I don't fucking know. But oh my god, it's such a good album. The first song I heard was Kiss Me, and I had that shit on repeat for so many fucking days. I was like, yeah, I don't even remember how it goes, but I just remember that it was so fucking like, yeah, definitely recommend that if you're going for like a vibe, like it's not poppy, but it's I don't know how to explain it. Recommend it though. Next one is Made in Korea question mark by Cherry Filter. This popped up on my Apple Music when I was on the train, and I was like, what the fuck is this? Why haven't I ever heard of this song? And it's a like a I don't know if it's an indie or alternative rock. I think it might be like kind of like a K-rock song or album from the 90s. And it's so like diverse. Like I never stepped foot into like after or like during like the early 2000s to even before like indie rock or K-indie rock or K-rock or whatever, any Korean music at that time, except unless it was like pop. So after this album, I started listening to more like K&D and K-rock bands from that time, from like the 90s to like the early 2000s. So the next one is Reminiscence by My Sister's Barbershop, and I believe they are an indie band. And I want to say this is from the early 2000s or like late 90s, but it's such a vibe. I don't know how else to explain it, but it is a vibe. I still have to listen to the rest of their discography, but yeah, give it a listen. And then the next album is the next album is Smithereens by Joji. Now, in October, I went to see him live. I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a mid-performance, but I love Joji, so I still went to go see him. But hearing Glimpse of Us was pretty neat. And then after hearing this album, at the first try, I was like, alright, it's okay. But the more I listen to it, the more I'm like, alright, I feel like you have to be in a certain mood to listen to this album. But it is still a phenomenal album. I like Glimpse of Us and then Die For You. I think the whole album was just basically about like falling out of love from like a relationship or something. And yeah, good song. Good album. Recommend. Next one is actually really fucking good. Like I wouldn't have expected from someone who got famous off of TikTok. But this is what blank feels like by Jake with a V instead of A. Now you probably like have heard his music before through either commercials or TikTok, social media, and I think it's like the whole process of like falling in love and then things happen within that relationship and then you have to fall out of love. So it's like a whole kind of story or a sequence of events within this album, which is I really appreciate when like artists do that for their albums. And I think Drake did a really fucking phenomenal like job, and he was like, yeah, this is like my first and last album or project. I'm like, bro, what? You're so talented. You need to keep making, like, you gotta keep spitting out like music like this. But yeah, give it a listen. I think my favorite one is I Can't Help It, because it's kind of he samples from Elvis's I Can't Help Falling in Love, and I like that song, so give it a go. Next one is an oldie but a goodie, and I rediscovered it the other day. It is If You Were a Movie, This Would Be Your Soundtrack by Sleeping with Sirens. Yes, the little emo girl inside of me is coming out from middle school, but anyways, it is a bop. It's kind of like they're an alternative punk rock band. Yeah, I don't really like their new music as much anymore, but I think when I got into like punk rock music, I think them, Sleeping with Sirens, and Pierce the Veil were like my top two favorite bands. But I came across this EP not too long ago, and I was like, I still remembered, like, even like it's been years since I've heard these songs, but I remembered almost every single word from each song, and I was like, I can't lie, this album was kind of a bop. And yeah, it's a very mellow acoustic EP. So if you want to give it a go, if you're into like punk rock and want to hear more like softer versions of their songs, give it a go. And yeah. Next one is Conversations with the Moon by Grant Perez. Bro, I was trying to see this man in like November, right after Anime NYC, but his concert got canceled. Well, it didn't get canceled. It got moved to May. So that was supposed to be my last concert of the year. And they moved it, and I was like, no, I was looking so forward to singing Cherry Wine. But his music it's so cute. It's very like mellowy, and it's always like a vibe. Like, it got me want to be like dancing in my room and shit. But yeah, I highly recommend that album. Next one is something that, you know, am I a true ARMY fan if I don't add this album into my list for this segment? It is Indigo by RM. Now, I'm usually like this with like solo albums for BTS, but it is I heard it the first, or with Windflower first, and I was like, it was okay. And I watched the music video too when it dropped, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about like the amount of like CGI and effects that happen in the music video, but I don't know. And then I heard the album, and I was like, it's okay. But then I heard it like 15 more times, and I was like, nah, it's growing on me. It's a fucking vibe. Like, it screams Namjoon, and I love it. I love to see them thrive in their solo work. But yeah, that's all I have to say. If you don't listen to it, you're a hater. That's all I'll say. Next one is The Wind, the Sea, the Rain by Brown Eyed Soul, which is, I think, like a R&B, K-R&B, K-Soul, K-R&B / soul band. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. But they're like oldie people. They're like an oldie band. I think from like the 90s or 2000s. But they're still like popping out new shit. And this album was kind of a vibe. I was just listening to like 1 or 2 albums, and then 1 or 2 songs from them, and then Apple Music recommended me this album, and I was like, okay, I need new music. So then I heard it, and it was like it was very, I forgot how it was, but if I saved the whole album on my Apple Music library, then there's a reason to that. So give it a listen. If you want to hear something new, definitely try out Brown Eyed Soul. They're a very good artist. Now the last one is something that I've been repeating just so I can keep myself sane until February, and that is Emergency Contact by Pierce the Veil. If you don't know Pierce the Veil, where have you been? Pastor Nirvana, hello, like King for a Day, oh my god, Bulls in the Bronx. I love them so much. But Emergency Contact, Pierce the Veil is another punk rock band, and they were on a hiatus for I think like 5 or 6 years, and they are finally releasing an album this upcoming February next year. And bro, I'm so fucking excited. Like, I've been waiting 5 to 6 years. I graduated, I was in community college 5 or 6 years ago. I was like a freshman or whatever. It was like my first year. And now I'm graduated. I am doing big girl things. Like, I'm just so excited. This song though, like, when I first heard it, just like the RM song or the RM album, I was like, okay, it's okay. Like, it's not their best work, but it's okay. Then I heard it like a couple more times, and I was like, wait. Just the whole production of the their music is just still spot on. I feel like sometimes artists tend to like lose track of themselves or try to branch out into their into new things, but it never works out, and then they just never get back to how they were before. With Pierce the Veil, I feel like they stayed consistent with the way they sound their whole career, and after even 5 years of a hiatus, they still didn't lack anything, especially with Vic Fuentes' vocals. Like, his vocals are still spot on. I feel like with a lot of punk rock bands, they tend to lose their voice because they tend to scream too much in the concerts or in their songs and stuff. But with Vic Fuentes, I feel like they use a light amounts, like a dip, like a sprinkle of screamo, and then the rest is just melody and actual singing. And please, if you like good music, please try this song out. Maybe you won't maybe it's not your thing, which is fine, but still give it a go, because I think Pierce the Veil is one of my favorite artists, right after Fujikaze and BTS. So it's Fujikaze, then BTS, then Pierce the Veil. But BTS isn't gonna come out with a new shit till 2025, so I feel like Pierce the Veil is making its way back to number 2. So it's kind of a tough subject, or tough match. But yeah, give Pierce the Veil a go. Okay, great. Now, last segment is books, which I don't read often, but when I do, I try to pick out the best books that I can. And the first one I came across at Kinokuniya, which is a Japanese bookstore in Manhattan. And I think I was going to the bookstore for self-help books, because I've been wanting to study more up on that, and I don't know, just better myself and get to understand other people's emotions and stuff more. But I saw this just in the not bestsellers, but new arrivals or whatever stack of books, and it's called I Want to Die But I Want to Eat the Bookie by Bexehis. I don't know how to pronounce her name because it was in romanization and it wasn't in Hangul, so yeah. But and then on the top it's recommend or read by famous BTS member RM, and I'm really? Yeah, you gotta add that. But it was actually really fucking good. And it's just basically a memoir of this author's therapy sessions, and just talking about her depression and stuff. And in a way, I felt like it was kind of free therapy for certain parts that you could relate to. And it's nice because you kind of get a understanding of maybe why you feel this certain way and how you can progress from that and steer away from your bad habits. So yeah, I have a couple pages I think left, but for a majority I read most of the book, and it's really good. I highly recommend it if you like that type of subject of learning more about psychology and things like that. So yeah, give it a go. And then the last book is a book that I found through Reddit, because I was what was I searching up? Something about perfectionism and working through that, how where did it come from, rather. Not that I'm really a perfectionist, I'm more of a workaholic, but yeah, I wanted to understand what made a person a perfectionist, and then someone quoted something from this book, and I was oh wait. So then I looked up the book, and it was really fucking cheap on Amazon, so I was you know what, I'm gonna get this shit. So it's called Mindset: The New Psychology of Success, How we can learn to fulfill our potential, by Carol S. Dweck. So it coincides with parenting, business, school, and relationships, and it has 2 million copies in print. But yeah, so what it says in the back is, after decades of research, renowned Stanford University psychologist Carol blah 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 discovered a simple but groundbreaking idea: the power of mindset. In this brilliant book, she shows how success in school, work, sports, the arts, and almost every area of human endeavor can be dramatically influenced by how we think about our talents and abilities. People with fixed mindset, those who believe that our abilities are fixed, are less likely to flourish than those with a growth mindset, those who believe that abilities can be developed. Mindset reveals how great parents, teachers, managers, and athletes can put this idea to use to foster outstanding accomplishment. And yeah. So in this edition, she offers new insights into her now famous and broadly embraced concept. She introduces a phenomenon she calls false growth mindset and guides people toward adopting a deeper, truer growth mindset. She also expands the mindset concept beyond the individual, applying it to cultures of groups and organizations. With the right mindset, you can motivate those you lead, touch, and love to transform their lives and your own. So yeah, I will say I am shit at I'm shit at advice. I can't give the greatest advice. So I definitely want to be able to give I just keep saying it. I want to definitely give better advice to my friends who may be struggling through, certain things and lacking the self-esteem that they need to push forward towards what they want to do or what they would like to do. So yeah, I also wanted to feed my brain a little bit and and try to refrain from thinking negatively or thinking that I can't progress within my art career, because definitely I can. Anyone can progress in whatever they do. It's all about the effort of doing it. And so yeah, that this book kind of goes within that concept, and I am only 40 pages in because I'm a really slow reader and I usually don't have a lot of time to read unless I'm on the train. But I highly recommend this book. And if you have any recommendations on these kinds of books or self-help books, drop it down in the comments, because I really want to read more and I want to understand psychology better and stuff like that. So yeah, that is all of the recommendations that I have for y'all today. Thank you for listening to this little, I guess, podcast, but not really a podcast thing. And I will catch y'all in the next video. Bye bye.